Hello students, myself Dr. Awadhesh Kumar Dubey. Students, welcome to our new lecture series on commercial banks. On previous lecture students, we are discussed what is the bank. As earlier we say that bank is the key institutions, or we can say is more important institutions for our daily life. In the same while, we are going to discuss now the roles of the commercial banks and what the commercial banks functions perform in today's lecture, student. Because bank is a important part or significant part of our life, but those banks which are recognized for this purpose is especially commercial banks. Each and every kind of the banks have a significant roles in our daily routines, but we are not to be deals with the all kinds of the banks. And as the function of the banks, the separate bank or different banks can perform the task differently. Most of the banks which are be providing the better facility or best facility for the customers use is the commercial banks or the cooperative banks. But in this today's lecture, students, we are especially going to focus on the commercial banks and what are the function of the commercial bank only. And later on we are discussing about the roles of about detail in the Indian commercial banks and what the establishment of the Indian commercial banks. But today our lecture is only be focused on the commercial banks and its role, its functions on daily routine history. So student, let's start the topic, that is commercial banks. As you know, commerce means trade. The banks have to do the trades of accept the money and provide the loans. Is called the commercial banks. Most of the banks are be performing the same kind of the task, but students, the commercial banks are specialized for performing these facilities. And for performing these facilities, they have to operate, they have to open various kind of the accounts, and each and every kind of the account have to be specified for a special purpose. So the operating of that accounts is the primary functions of that banks. So in this lecture, students, we are going to discuss all about this, what kind of the accounts are be there and what functions of the banks are be performed while that accounts, and what services are be provided by the banks for their customer daily student. So before going to discuss about the function of the banks, we are just introducing what the commercial banks is, or we can say the special introductions about the commercial banks. How can we define the commercial banks? Students, a bank is the institutions that facilitate the transaction of the money. As earlier lectures, we are discussed that bank is the institutions which are performing the trades of money related activities or monetary related activities. So in this lecture, students, we are focusing on the same topics, that the banks is the institutions which are facilitating the transaction of the money for their customer, and the commercial bank is specialized for accepting the deposits and providing the loans or lending the loans for the businessman, for the business purpose, for the peoples, for the customers who are be connected with these banks. They are also called the commercial banks or commercial uh, occupational banks, because these banks are providing the functions, providing the tasks, providing the beneficiaries for the commerce purpose, or for the merchant banks, for the merchant purpose. So this is what we can call is as the commercial banks or merchant banks or the commerce purpose bank. Students, commercial bank accept people's money in the form of the deposits and provide the interest on their deposits. Various kinds of the deposit are there. So as per the nature of their deposit, the banks are providing, accepting that deposits and providing the loans as per the norms. And when the people needed the money, they also lend them in the forms of the loans or advance. This is the basic function. This is the basic purpose of the banks. So now we can say the banks, those accept the deposit from the customer and provide the loans to their customer on demand is the commercial banks. Students, at present, commercial banks also to do the various kind of the tasks, or as we can say, the work of the building credit in the society. In short, it can be said that the commercial banks is an institutions that accept deposits from the peoples for the purpose of earning profits, and also give the loans to the peoples when they need loans. And the difference of interest between the providing loans and deposits, it get the profit, because while taking the loans, it charge a higher rate of the interest to their customers. And for the students, when we have to deposit the amount, deposit the credits in the banks, then the banks provide the lesser amount of the interest on our deposit. So in this way, we can be say that the banks which are be performing such kind of the activities, accepting deposits and providing the loans, and the difference amount between the deposit interest, the paid interest, and the getting interest is the profit of the banks. So this is the function of the process. This is the function of the commercial bank, students. Now, the students, we are going to discuss what the functions of these commercial banks, because as we think that banks is an institution which provide the loans and accept the deposit, but beside this, there are so many functions can be performed by the bank. Some of the specific functions, some of the socialistic function, different kind of the functions are there. So in this lecture, students, we are going to discuss what the different nature of the function of the banks. It helps us to understand the commercial bank as a better way, students. So students, just start the classification of the functions of the bank, student. For the study purpose, the function of the banks are be classified or be characterized or be divided by the three parts. First, the main function of the banks. Second, the secondary function of the banks. And thirdly, student, we can say the socialistical functions, or we can say the auxiliary functions. It means the socialistical function, the purpose for securing, for providing the help to the society, or the responsibility of the social as social institutions. So these are the three types of the function of the bank, students. So now we take individually one functions and define it as the functions of the bank, as the roles of that functions are be performed by the bank, student. Firstly, we have to take the main function. Students, main function means what? Main function is refers to those functions for whom the banks going to develop, for whom the banks going to be designed. So now see the main function of the banks. While accepting the main function of the bank, the commercial banks have to perform two kind of the tasks. First, to accepting the deposits, and second, the providing the loans. Accepting the deposit from the customer, from their depositor, from their merchant, or we can say their traders, and provide the loans who have demanded this money, who have demanded the loans. Students, accepting the loans, it means the deposit of the accepting the deposit, it means deposit have a various kind, and each and every kind of the deposits have a specific kind of the accounts. So while accepting the deposits, bank provide the several kind of various kind of the accounts. Now see the each and every kind of the accounts as for the deposit, student. So for first, the accepting loans means the accepting the bank accepting the people's money in the form of the deposit. People can deposit their money in the following account as per the convenience. If we have a money and we have to decide which kind of the facilities we want from the banks, and each and every specific kind of the facilities are be the concerned with a specific kind of the account. So while the different kind of the facility, bank provide different kind of the accounts. First, the account, students, is the time deposit account. The account where we have to deposit our money for a time being period, and after completing that period, we have to take the deposit back. Students, in a fixed time deposit, it is also be called as the FD account, fixed deposit account. In a fixed time deposit account, people can deposit their money for a fixed period of the times. Under this account, people are also give a receipt for the deposit after depositing their money. On this receipt, the names of the depositor, the amounts of the money depositor or deposited, the rate of the interest are be provided by the banks, and the period of the deposits are be written. The longer the period of the deposits of the money under this account, the higher will be the rate of interest will be charged, or rate of the interest will be provided by the banks, because banks are safely have to use that money for such period. There have no any problems to the banks for using that money in a investment purpose. So while the period are be defined, the banks are be easily to be used, and if the period is longer, then the bank is easily be able to get the profit for a long period. So for depositing for FD, long runs FD, the bank provide the more rate of interest, and for the less terms of the FD, bank provide the less amount the loans, less amount the interest rate. So this is the first kind of the accounts which are be provided by the commercial banks for accepting the deposit student. Now the student, the second functions, the second type of the account is current deposit account students. This kind of the account is especially be performed, especially be allowed for the merchant customer student, for the trader, because they have enough money and they want to different kind of the accepting of the money and different kind of the payment. So in such account, the banks are be provide the facilitations for only the merchant or the traders students. Under the current deposit account, as depositor is given the facilities that he can deposit his money as many as he want, and can also withdraw his money when they require. Bank does not pay interest on such deposit accounts or such deposits, and the money is always withdrawal from this account by the checkbook. It is on for this activities, it is going to record where the money is be collected from where, and where the money will be paid. So this is going to help the customers or we can say the traders for the statement making of their trades. So this is the accounts of commercial banks for their customers, especially for the merchant trade. Now the third kind of the account is the saving deposit account for all purpose, for the general people's student. This account is opened by the banks to encourage the peoples to make small saving, like common peoples. They have small savings and they go to the banks and save, deposit their amounts into the banks, and after a large amount, after a period when the amount will be larger, then they have to withdraw it. Rupees can be withdrawn from this accounts only up to a certain amounts. If we want, or if the customers want to withdraw more than a certain amounts, then the banks will have to be informed about it in advance. Then the bank have to arrange that amount of the money and then paid to the customer students. Because in a saving account, the banks are thinking that this is a saving account and no customers should not be required a huge amount of the money. So now the fourth kind of the account is, it is one of the most important significant account for current banking system student. It is the home safe saving account. Under this account, the bank provided the facilities of piggy banks to the depositor at his homes, and the banks keep the key of the piggy bank with him. In this account, the depositor keep their deposit, his small savings, and after some time, the depositor goes to the banks and deposit his piggy bank deposits in his account. Because if customers have 2 rupees, 3 rupees, 5 rupees, so customers should not to be go regularly to the banks for depositing their money. So in this purpose, in this type of the savings, the banks provide a piggy bank account to their customers, provide a piggy bank to the customers, and the customer have to picking the money on that banks, on that bucket student, or that pot students. After the period when the customer thinking that they have enough money in their piggy bank, then they go to the banks and open the piggy bank and withdraw the money in their account. So this is in basically, because this is the way of increasing the savings from the small savers. So this is another kind of the accepting depositing facilities provided by the commercial bank students. Now the recurring deposit account, it is another kind of the saving the money or increasing the small savings into the rural area students. Students, in this type of the account, the depositor have to deposit a fixed deposited in his accounts at a fixed time every month. Depositor deposit in this type of the accounts cannot be withdrawn before a specified period. The interest that the depositor get on the deposit also keep on getting credit in his accounts. It is also be called as a RD account, routine deposit account. We have opening our accounts and have to deposit 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees yearly, monthly, weekly, 15 days in our accounts. So banks provide an account number and provide a agent for collecting such amount from us. And after a period for those, the banks and we have to deal. After those period, after the completing of that period, we have to go to the banks, and bank will be calculate what the amount have to deposited there and their interest rate, and after the banks return it. Bank provide the facilities to accept the deposit on various areas, from rural area, from urban area, but in this kind of the account, the mid-terms withdrawal facilities approximately not to be available. So these 5 kind of the deposit accounts are be opened by a commercial bank for their customers. Now the students, the another function of the banks, that is the providing the loans students. The first function of the banks is to accept deposits, and the second functions is to give the loans to the people's students. Commercial banks can provide the following types of the loans accounts. First, cash deposit account. Under this type of the loans, the borrower get the right to withdraw a fixed deposit on the basis of a certain security. If we want our loans from the banks, we have to deposit the money into the banks, and the banks provide the loans on our deposited amount to us on our demand stream. In this account, the borrower keep on depositing money under a limit and also keeping on tracking out the loans as per the requirement. So this is the first loans account, for the cash deposit loans account facilities provided by the banks to their customers. Students, second type of the loans account is overdraft account, and that is the especially be for merchant customer students. This depositor who have a current deposit accounts in the banks, they take the right to withdraw more money than their deposit. According to the agreement with the banks, the amount that we depositor withdraw from the bank more than his deposit is called overdraft. If I'm a merchant and our trading credit is 2 lakh rupees, then I have a deal with the banks. Either there are 2 lakh rupees in our account or not. But in a month, if we have to issue the checks for 2 lakh rupees payment, then bank should provide it. Bank will pay the that amount, and they have to inform me about our payment, and after a period we have to deposit that money. So this is the specific facilities for overdraft account. These facilities only be available for the merchant on their current account, and before providing the facility, before using this facility, bank must have to deal with us about our trades, students. Now the student, the third kind of the loans account, that is loans and advance account, student. These loans are given in the forms of the fixed amount. The banks deposit a fixed amount in the borrower's account all at once. Interest start charging in his account immediately after the sanction of the loans. The debtors can also withdraw the loans deposited in this account. This is the basics of the loans and advance account. What we say, we are going to take a loans from the bank, so that loans RB deals with the this account, student. Now the fourth one is the investment in the government securities. Sometimes we have to invest in our area and we want to payment, we want to value, we want to loans against that deposit, because that deposit is not to be completed today, and but we have to require, we have to needs of that money, so we deposit that bill as a security into the banks and get the loans against that securities. So banks can also lend the money to the peoples or to their customers by accepting government securities. Almost now banks prefer to buy government security, as the risk the government security is very less, because that security is at least be not the chance to fail it, not to default it. So bank easily be accepted these deposits and provide the loans to their customers against that deposit. So this is the fourth one, is the types of the loans accounts is provided by the bank, students. So this is the primary function of the banks for their customers, students. Now the secondary function of the customer. Under the secondary function, students, as long with the primary function, the commercial banks also perform secondary function, which are as follows. Now see on your screens, the commercial banks also collect and pay various items to its customers, various kind of the loans, various kind of the deposits money, various kind of the payment, and also be pay as the direction of their customers. If I'm a person and I have an account and we have a credit on 2, 3, 4, 5 people from our city, from other city, then their people should pay the amounts in our account and bank collect it and provide the credit to our account. So this is the secondary function of the bank, students. Nextly, student, the bank also undertake to buy and sell various type of the securities for its customer. As we use the modern bank systems and we want to purchase the commodities and we not to be have a cash money, then we order the commodities and to give the order either by email, by electronic medium, or by the check to that banks to pay the amounts to that merchant. So banks also we have to provide this facility. This is the secondary function of the bank, student. Next, student, bank also act as a trustee and managers of their properties at the behest of their customers, as the behalf of their customers, student, we can say. When I'm opening accounts and we have not such enough capital, then we engage the organization or industry with the help of the banks, and bank play the roles of the trustee or the manager of our industry and provide certain suggestions or monetary helps to us for the operation of that industry. So in those conditions, the banks also be provide the roles of the trustee and the manager for their customers where their banks are engaged. Students, commercial bank also work to increase international trades by buying and selling foreign currency for their customer. It is also the secondary function of the banks. If we have a foreign currency, then the bank accept it and transit it, convert it in our domestic currency, and safely we deposit in our accounts. Or if we want to go to visit a foreign country, then also the banks provide the foreign currency to us for that purpose. So this is the another function of the banks is the secondary another function of the bank system. Now, the bank also provide locker facility to its customer. There are two kind of the lockers are be there, open lockers, and secondly is the safe lockers. Open lockers, it means we have to define the banks what kind of the items we have to deposit into the bank, and banks safely have to monitor it and charge the amounts. And secondly, the hidden lockers, where the banks would not to be want to know what items we have to deposit on the banks, but on the behalf of this bank have to charge. It means bank provide me a space for depositing, for safely we deposit our items, either that is cash or that is gold or that is paper, what we think this is the our opinions. So this is the another function, secondary function of the banks. Banks is not to be made for it, but it is the secondary function. It means bank also be provide the function of provide the facilities of this kind of the services for their customers. Another the student, bank also advise their customers on financial matter by collecting business information and data. Bank also be collect the data from the various sectors where they have to establish, they collect the information for various kind of the trade activities, various kind of economic activities. And if we go to take a loans, then banks have to audit the proposal of our loans, and bank provide the suggestions to us. This function is serious, risky or not. So it also be provide the help as the roles of the advisor to our trade or business. It is another secondary function of the bank system. So here is the secondary function is be completed of the bank system. Now, beside these all primary or secondary functions, bank also be provide some specific kind of the function that is called as the social functions, social work. Bank being a social institutions, bank also be provide the facilities for the social activities. And here you are watching the function, watching the roles of the banks, what banks going to perform as a social institution. Students, at present, commercial banks are doing the work of capital formations very easily because they provide the mini saving account. They provide the various kind of the saving facilities to the peoples. So while providing these facilities, bank increase the capital formation in the economy. Students, economical development of a country is possible through this capital forming, because if the economy have to depends on the investment, foreign investment, then the foreign investment will be charged by the interest. But if the peoples have to make more capital formation in domestic region, then the interest is also being engaged in our economy, and it provide the benefit to the on our domestic investors. So this is another social work of the bank system. Another, the credit is provided to the entrepreneur on time by the bank itself. Encouraged by this credit, the entrepreneurs innovate. If an entrepreneur have ideas of the innovations, then but they have not enough money, so in these cases, in these situations, bank provided the facilities of loans to their customers as per their demand. If that proposals are be beneficiaries, then bank provide the loans to their customers, and it is also be the socialistic function of the bank for encouraging the entrepreneurship in the domestic region. Student, next student, the banks, the rate of the interest is fixed by the banks in such a way so as to motivate to entrepreneur and investment to invest. If the bank rates are be higher, then the people must be have to deposit the money. If the bank rate is lesser, then the people are motivated to take the loans and to engage into the business activities. So this is the another function of the bank, student. Further, the student, it is also helpful in increasing the rural credit by commercial banks. Commercial banks helps in arranging self-employment for unemployment peoples by providing the loans and responsible interests. This is another socialistical function of the banks, what the banks have to perform for their contribution for their region. Students. So in this lecture, students, we are discuss all about the functions is performed by the commercial bank or common bank, student. I think you are getting benefit from this lecture and satisfied with the roles of the banks. If you have any confusion, student, you must be have to comment on this lecture and inform to me what the confusions are there. I will try to resolve it. Thanks you, students. Thanks for this lecture. Thanks for watching this channel. Thank you a lot. Thank you, students.